Our story focuses today on Mana Srivate. This Thailand rescue worker has worked at his career for 26 years, responding to accidents and saving people from life-threatening injuries and accidents. One evening, however, Mr. Srivate came across a scene he never expected. A motorcyclist had been driving along in the eastern Thai province of Chhataburi. It was dark, so the driver was at a complete shock when he suddenly found himself in the thick of a group of wild elephants in the middle of crossing the road. Unfortunately, the driver crashed headlong into the most innocent and vulnerable of the group, a baby elephant. Mr. Srivate was devastated when he came across a scene to witness such a large and gentle beast laying motionless in the road. What could he do? Mr. Srivate has been trained to aid humans, not animals, and there was no way of telling how damaged the poor creature was from the impact. Shoving his doubts aside, Mr. Srivate's instincts and trainings kicked in, and he immediately began administering CPR to the animal. He used his best guess, frantically working against time to save the baby elephant. For minute after tense minute, Mr. Srivate struggled and physically exhausted himself, working to give this young life a chance. You can imagine what joy he felt when the baby took a gasping breath, finally rising to its feet. This moment was a precious one for Mr. Srivate. See? Up until this point in the 26 years of his career, he had never been able to save a person using CPR. Could you imagine the frustration he must have felt knowing that CPR could save lives, but always getting there too late, or witnessing injuries that were too much for the wounded to handle? So now, when the opportunity to save a jewel of Thailand arose, it must have felt like a turning of the tide for Mr. Srivate. It's my instinct to save lives, but I was worried the whole time because I can hear the mother and other elephants calling for the baby, Mr. Srivate said. I assume where an elephant heart would be located based on human theory and a video clip I saw online. When the baby elephant started to move, I almost cried. Fortunately, the baby elephant only walked away with bruises, and the motorcyclist last was treated and lived after the harrowing ordeal. If it hadn't been for the time of Mr. Srivate and his friends arriving after the accident and the rescue workers' quick response to the baby's need, a life that touches the hearts of so many could have been cut short. Mr. Srivate's deed have been circulating around Thailand in honor of the man who wouldn't give up on this young elephant, and now his care has been reported worldwide. It is truly amazing how the persistence of Mana Srivate spared the little elephant from death. Can you imagine if he hesitated for a moment? We know elephants never forget, and we can be sure that little baby will never forget the human that kept him alive. What do you think of this story? Could you imagine what it would be like to give CPR to a real elephant? I could only imagine how much effort that had to take. Maybe you have a story for us about someone you know who has saved a little animal just like Mr. Srivate. Tell us about that story and we can celebrate another life saved.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe to our channel if you like good stories like this one. Now on the right, you can check out other amazing stories. And that's all for today. See you soon.